All right, welcome back to another interview of Interviewing the X's, another chapter of Interviewing the X's. My name is Joshua Cotton. I'm the host of this segment where we interview guys and we talk about their testimonies. We let them share their testimonies with others and we let them share how they've changed their life and want to help others change theirs now. So today we have our friend here, Mr. Riccardo. Um, Last name Riccardo. Pronounce your last name for me.
Yes, Ivory.
Riccardo.
Ivy. Yes, yes.
I didn't want to say it wrong. So a little bit more about myself. I'm the founder of Grown Men, Grown Men. It's a space we created to help guys uh, deal with issues and life issues, dealing with past issues, and help them move forward with their purpose. We're interviewing our friend here tonight, and he's going to tell us more about what we're here to talk about today, interviewing the exes. So, Riccardo been married since 2017. He studied at AS State and lives in Florida. So, tell me a little bit about AS State and a little bit more about yourself and who you are.
Okay. Yeah, well, actually, that should say State College of Florida.
Okay.
I've studied the actual paralegal program. I went for my AS. I'm not quite done yet. I got like another year before I get my AS in paralegal studies. So that's currently what I'm doing right now as I'm working full time. Basically, the company I work for, we do collections, but I work in the actual legal department. So a couple of people are leaving the company. So the company say, hey, since you've been here a while, go ahead and get your ass, in paralegal, and we'll go ahead and give you a position. So that's basically what I'm doing right now. So I've been there about 11 years. With June to be 11 years, and I enjoy it.
So what's
A
up?
lot of sitting around talking on the phone. Talk to a lot of attorneys, doctors, people like that who owe money.
Okay, okay. Anything else other far as your background, work related that you like to
Yeah, well,
share?
actually, yeah. So, used to be in the military. I was in the military 5 years. They had me stationed up in Alaska. I got military.
Hmm.
Um, Worked a few in and out jobs. End up doing online marketing. That's actually what brought me to Florida. A buddy of mine that was in the military with me, his granddad passed away, had a house down here for a good price. So he came down here first. Then he ended up having me come down here, help him out, and came down here and fell in love. Beautiful place. So I've been here since 97. Left a few times, went back to Chicago. That's where I'm originally from. But overall, I love it down here in Florida. It's just the weather, man, beaches. It's great.
Man, you can't beat that, bro. Especially the weather here.
Yeah.
I think about this every day. I think I am getting out of here. I'm getting out of here. And you talk about Florida, that's where you are now. Like, you probably had on a t-shirt all day today.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's my plan is to get out of Chicago. I'm in Chicago now, and tomorrow it's supposed to be 40 and might snow.
Oh wow.
Today it
Yeah.
was 60 something. So our weather is what it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we're gonna dive right into what we here today. We're here to talk about the exes. So we want to know, what is your ex in your life?
Okay. I actually have like a lot of exes. Well, like the actual first ex I want to talk about, which was the actual big one for me. I'm an ex drug dealer, ex drug addict. They played a big part of my life as far as a lot of the issues I had in my life. Trouble I got into was because of drugs. Initially, I got in trouble because I was an actual drug dealer. And as some people may know, you can't really dabble in drugs, selling drugs, not eventually start doing drugs. You kind of go hand in hand. It's pretty much a fairy tale. If a person thinks they're going to get into like the drug dealing and just sell drugs to make money, it's all a trap from the enemy. You're going to eventually start doing drugs. And that's pretty much the trap I fell into, and it pretty much cost me dearly. I grew up in the church. Can't say I had a relationship with God, but I was religious because my parents, were churchgoers, and so quite frankly, me growing up as a child, I was going to attend church. Left home, got away from the church, and walked down a real dark path of drugs. Pretty much the actual drug thing, it was off and on for about 12 years. I still worked the job and kind of just, dibble and dabble like on the weekend. Got into some trouble with like law enforcement and so forth. Long story short, they pretty much raided my house and kicked in my door because I had to end up selling to a person that was what you call a CI down here. What they call CIs, which is confidential informants, who actually snitched on me, and that's pretty much how I got hemmed up in that situation. But even through that, God had mercy on me because even though I didn't have a relationship with God, I knew about God, and I prayed, "Oh God, get me out of this. I will never do it again." And Lord delivered me. Only did a few months in jail. I was supposed to have been dead years in jail, but just God's favor was on me. I didn't pray to get out of the situation. I just basically prayed and said, "Lord, don't let them throw the kitchen sink at me. I know I did wrong. I know I have to pay for what I did." And they kind of was pretty lenient on me as far as jail time.
That's a lot. You just
Yeah.
said you just said a lot. I want to break down some of the stuff you just talked about. So first off, you said you started selling drugs. About what age was this?
Actually, okay. Initially, when I came to Florida, a buddy of mine started on business. We ran hard for about 8 years. Things wasn't going so well. We had to kind of like depart and kind of shut the business down. The type of money I was making, there was no way a job was going to pay me that kind of money. So I was introduced into selling drugs, which, I mean, actually being from Chicago, I'd always been against that because I saw what it did in like our communities, which is down here, just the culture is a little bit different. And I got involved in that. I was about, see here, 2004, I think it was. And I initially got involved in drugs. I had to be about, I can't get my math quite right. So let me see here. I had to be in my 30s, I think, when I first got involved in it.
Okay.
I think in my late 30s.
And when we say drugs, you talking about like weed, or you talking about heavy stuff?
Oh, heavy stuff. I started off kind of selling weed, and then it went to just selling cocaine and selling crack and selling pills. Back during that time, Oxycontin was like a big deal. Oxycodone, they call it now, but it's Oxycontin or Oxycontin. And I sold like the hard stuff. It was like real fast money, in that. And so I kind of got involved, selling that. And just kind of like, I knew what I was doing was wrong. It's just that I was too arrogant to get a job, too prideful. And that's what kind of led me down that path. So I did that for about 3 years until I got in trouble.
Mm-hmm. It's understandable. What was your life before that? Like something brought you to that, but what was life before that? Like you weren't always into that, so you had a different life before that.
Right. Yes. So basically, before that, a buddy of mine, we had started a business, online business, where then we advertised for companies over the internet. So they basically paid us to advertise for that, and we were making a lot of money doing that. So like I say, when that started kind of ending, I had to find some other way to kind of like maintain that lifestyle, and that's how I was introduced into the whole drug thing. I mean, initially I was scared of it, but the person introduced me to it, made it seem so easy because they were doing it, and I got to be around certain types of people who I thought were like prominent people, because like down here in Florida, it's not like, usually when you see people on the streets out there strung out, that's the end result. But you got a lot of people that's like living in nice homes. I mean, you wouldn't even know that they sell drugs.
Or using it.
Florida. Yeah, or even using drugs. I mean, a lot of my clientele had mansions, own businesses. I mean, you couldn't even tell. I mean, like, unless you knew them personally or like you were dealing with them, you wouldn't even know that they were even on drugs. So that's what kind of like got me into that lifestyle. Then I eventually started using drugs while I was selling drugs. And if you know how that goes, you got to kind of keep up with your habit and make money. And it was just crazy. It's a trap I fell into.
Yeah, and you talked about also already what do you think caused you to make that choice for your life? Because you felt like you didn't have a lot of options left to keep that same lifestyle. What was the
Right,
lifestyle that you was trying to maintain? Like a house, a car, or just clothes, or
right.
what was?
Basically, just right, just basically just living because when we had the business, I had expenses over like $8,000 to $9,000 a month,
Whew.
and there was no way I was going to get a job paying that kind of money. And I was kind of freaking out at first, like like what am I going to do? And the guy came to me and offered me opportunity, and it kind of gave me that lifestyle, continue that continued lifestyle. But if anything, if like I can say anything before that, just pride and arrogance is what actually led me into a life of selling drugs. Because had I not been proud, I could have just downsized, got me a job, worked for a company, and I never would have had to go through what I went through.
Mm,
It's that kind of like shortcut mentality that I kind of had. It kind of led me to that.
fast money. It looked good, but that's true. That's true. And you'd also already talked about how long this lasted. You said it was 3 years or it was 12 years.
It was about well, actually, as far as drug selling, it was about 3 4 years. Drug use 12 years, off and on. So I was doing drugs off and on up until about 2017. Beginning of 2017 is when I really stopped.
Okay. I want to go back a minute because you said drugs was not your only ex. So
Right,
there was another ex that you also was referring to. What was
right.
that?
Yeah. So I've actually been married. Like this is my fourth marriage. Um, Kind of left home and was like let loose, and really didn't have any direction. When I left home, I joined the military just to get out of my parents' home. And I was just so happy to be free from that. I kind of just wandered through life. There was really no direction. I kind of just like whatever came about, I did it. And so, I had a void deep in me, which I really didn't realize. And I saw it through women, through getting married. And the void that I had, women wasn't the issue. It was something much deeper than that. Like I used those things to try and fill that void. And so, 4 marriages later, 7 kids later, you know, it wasn't a good thing.
So most of the marriages ended. You feel like it was things that you wasn't working on the marriage, or you wasn't. What was the biggest problem in the
Right.
marriage?
Well, because in my family history, there's no history of divorce. I mean, my parents married over 30 some years before my mom and dad passed away. So there was never a history in my family of people breaking up. Um, Looking back now, I realized that, I was a selfish person. That's really what it boiled down to. If like things didn't go my way, I went on to the next. And I never realized that I was the problem. I looked at it like the individuals I was with was a problem. They wasn't doing what I wanted them to do. Things wasn't going my way. And so I had this, like I say, now I actually know what it is. Back then I did. It was selfishness and self-centeredness. And I was never taught any better. You know, and so unfortunately, it actually, I actually went through those many marriages before I really, realized that I was the issue.
Was this the same time when the other stuff was going on with the drugs?
No, well, actually, the third one is when I was really heavy into drugs. The
Okay.
first two wasn't. Yeah, so that one was, pretty bad. I was off and on, and kind of took that individual through some changes because of my drug use. And
I can only imagine it can affect family with far not just your wife, but also you said your kids. They were
right,
affected by your habit and what was going on.
right, yes, exactly. And it's like I wanted to stop, but it's like just felt like I couldn't stop. And I used to always think like, man, am I ever gonna stop doing this? It's kind of like it's like I wanted to stop, but then I couldn't stop. And I was just stuck. He was like a helpless feeling. Like, I know I'm disappointed in my family, I know I'm disappointed in my kid, but it's like I can't stop this thing. It actually really had a hold of me. I mean, I still maintain a job and things like that. I would just basically work pay the bills, whatever I had left over, blow it on drugs. It's kind of how it was for me.
So at one point you stopped selling and you just went to pure using.
Right. Yeah. 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 So I stopped selling, went to using. And then, like I said, I got a job and all that, and I was just kind of just maintaining that way. Like I said, it'd be off and on. I mean, I would go maybe 8, 9, 10 months. I wouldn't do anything. Wouldn't have any itch for drugs or nothing. Then that's just that one night I would wake up, just want to on drugs and go out and use it. So like I said, I battled with that for quite a while. Until I was finally set free from that.
Man, these stories like this is sometimes difficult for guys to share, especially parts of their past. They have to be vulnerable and be willing to talk about it. But one, I appreciate you being willing to talk about your story and how others will see this and like, man, you went through it. You here now. They also can share this, or they can talk to others about how they've seen someone recover from this. So you
Right.
talked about how long this lasted. Also, how were you able to change your life from these cycles and things that was happening that, like you said, the marriage, the drug using, drug abuse?
Right. What helped me is just surrendering everything to God. It's like all during this time I've been still kind of going to church. I got back to going to church. I would hear the word of God all the time. So I mean, basically, God did it. I still had to surrender myself. Admit that I had a problem, that I needed help. I can't do this on my own. That was pretty much the first step. Just totally surrender. And God pretty much healed me up. He actually took that taste out of my mouth. But like the thing was that, I mean, I was really serious. It wasn't a situation like I know I should stop. No, I really was tired. I'm like, Lord, I was like, Lord, help me. Like I'm tired of living like this. I don't want to hurt my family anymore. And he did. He actually took the taste out of my mouth. And that, and also show me some things about myself as far as my relationships. How I was the issue. I was selfish. I was trying to fill the void through different women and sex and different things like that. So I mean, like overall, like much of our voice in life come from the absence of God in our lives. We try and fill it through so many different things. I mean, especially being a man, we're taught that the more women you sleep with, the better. You're scoring, but which is backwards, because you're really just hurting people, and like you're really hurting yourself. Because no matter how many people you sleep with, you can never fill that void. You're gonna want more and more. It's like it never stops.
Man, that's honest moment that you're willing to talk about what things were your weakness, and you talked about how selfishness and self-centered was the reason why you felt like you was using women
Right.
for your own purpose of pleasure.
Right. Right. It's all about my own gratification. And at the time when I was doing it, I didn't realize that. To me, that's this life. This is how it's supposed to be. I mean, I was blinded by that. And that's why I kept going from relationship to relationship. I kept thinking like they're the problem, not me. And, I'm the man. They're supposed to do what I'm telling them to do. If they don't do what I'm telling them to do, I'm on to the next.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized then, like, no, dude, like you wrong. The way you see life is wrong. And, took me a minute.
So now you can give some advice about marriage and how sometimes a guy might feel like, well, a woman's supposed to be submissive and she ain't listening to what I want. I want to do this and she don't listen. What made you this marriage that you're in now different from your last marriage?
Yeah, like a lot of it is a lot of it is like I have to give credit to my wife, because it's funny is that throughout my life I never knew what I wanted in a woman. I thought I did, but when I met her, I realized she's what's been missing in my life. She kind of brought correction to me. I didn't want to hear it. Somebody told me about myself. I didn't want to hear it, but she really saw through me. She saw what my issue was. She's like, you know what? You a runner. I'm like, what you mean, right? She's like, you're a runner. You don't have no situation. You run. You're a little boy. And it kind of cut me when she said that. But then when like I actually stepped back, like, you know what, she right. When I actually sat back and listened to what she said, I looked over my life, like, you know what? I was a runner. To me, I wasn't back in the day. To me, I'm like, oh, I ain't got to deal with this. I'm the man. Ooh, no, no, bro, you a runner. You don't deal with issues. Things don't go your way. You leave and on to the next. And I think a lot of that came from my parents. They were like really controlling. I grew up in like a Christian home, and they kind of suppressed me a lot, and I had to like swallow out like a lot of stuff. So I think when I left home, I think just deep in me, I just felt like nobody would ever control me or tell me what to do. And unfortunately, it spilled over into relationships. Like I say, it took me many years to realize really what the actual issue was. Something that happened between me and my parents, like the whole control thing. And just deep down, I wasn't gonna let nobody control me. And that's how I kind of live my life.
Man, just being able to admit that, like, I was a runner, I dealt with stuff in a way I don't want to deal with it. I'm just out, gone. A lot of guys I see, a lot of younger guys, they not willing to listen to an older authority figure. If you didn't grow up with a father in your home and some other man is trying to tell you, hey, dude, take this advice that's going to help you later on. Like, I don't want to hear that. I just leave. Man, that's happened so much, how we don't understand the advice and wisdom of an older man as he's trying to give us wisdom. And now you've learned that and you want to pass that on to others by doing this.
Right.
I greatly appreciate this.
Right. That way they don't have to go to almost age 50 before they figure it out, I guess better late than never, but just hard head, just being hard head, man. I mean, nobody could tell me anything, just hard head. I knew everything, And it's pretty much just, just being humble. Admitting that you don't know everything, admitting that everything that like you look at is not the way life really is. It's just what my perception of life was. So a lot of it just me just humbling myself, just shutting up, listening, taking it. And I was able to really open my mind to what was really going on. And things are going great now. Yeah.
That's what's up. Well, how did you grow from these experiences?
Well, a lot of the ways I grow is that I'm more humble now. I listen. I'm not so quick to speak. I understand that there are other perceptions besides mine. I actually listen to other people when they speak to me. I actually take their advice. I actually really listen. Before I didn't listen. I listened enough to give a rebuttal. It was never like really listening to hearing the person out. So I had to do a lot of that. And honestly, it's actually less stressful, not trying to run everything. Much of the stress in our life comes from us trying to control everything. Stuff that we can't control, that we try to control, that we stress over because we can't control it. It's just sitting back, just realizing, you can't control everything. You're going to control yourself. And it's been a humbling experience for me. Like I said, I thank my wife a lot. She brought a lot of stuff out of me. She was patient with me. Took her through some changes, but she was patient with me because she saw what was in me and she saw what the issue was. I just had to see. So I'm just glad she was patient enough to allow me to grow through that process.
Man, it's like your life did a 180 completely.
Yeah.
Like you went from here to now. You can almost look back at the person like, wow, that was a different me. Like to say that you humble now, and at first you was on the other side of that coin, like I wasn't humble, I didn't listen to people. Like to be able to make that significant change, even people that weren't Christians and they are Christians, some core values of people that never really changed it. For you to make that change, that honest change, I commend you, bro. That's huge. I mean, it was needed, maybe, and it was significant in your life, but to actually do it is difficult.
Yeah, that's the hard part, especially
almost impossible for some.
Yeah, and and like I say, it's the whole pride thing, man. I mean, like these feelings and emotions, it's just that pride, man. I mean, people tell you stuff and you don't want to listen. It's just a strong emotion come over you, like, you got to just swallow that. Just swallow it. Just, sit through it. Sit through those emotions. They're going to pass. I mean, so many people don't want to feel a certain way. That's why they drink and drug and do certain things, man. They don't want to process that emotion. They want to run from it. And then like they cause them to do crazy stuff. So it was like a lot of that, just humbling myself, man. Just, because like basically like I looked at like, okay, if my life continued to go the way it was going, where am I going to be at? Like what you've been doing hasn't been working. So it's time to make that change. So I was willing to do it. It was scary because I've never done it before, just being totally vulnerable. I've never done that before, but it worked out. I got the right people around me, feed me truth. That's key. The people you surround yourself around. And that's what really helped me also make that change. Just like when I went the wrong direction, I got around the wrong people. I started putting my guards down, started messing with certain people here and there. And for what, I'm way in left field. So that's mainly key, man. Who you surround yourself around. If you want to make a change, no matter which direction it is, surround yourself around the people who you want to be like. And it won't take long, man. You'll be on the right path.
Every interview I've done, somewhere in the interview, a man has talked about how he has to either had changed his friends, changed his environment, hang around different people. Never fails. If you're around those same people where you was in a different space in your life, if you stood around them, is so much, it's not impossible, but the chance that you change, it doesn't happen. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Those guys that taught you what they taught you when you were there, that's what they got to share with you. So you really have to change your environment, change your circle, change your people. We're coming to the end of our segment, and one of the last questions I wanted to ask is, what advice would you give to a young man that experienced and went through what you went through?
One of the main advice I would give is, get you a mentor, get you a coach. You don't know everything. No matter how much you think you know, you don't know everything. Like you need people to guide you through life. That's what I would say, because I could say when I left home, I didn't really, I kind of was on my own. I didn't really have anybody around me. God, I kind of just was going to figure this thing out. It was definitely the wrong way. I would say, just get mentors. I mean, keep a mentor, regardless of what it is. Whether it be sports or just you want to navigate through life. Before you get into serious relationships, get a counselor. Man, I'm telling you, because like a lot of people don't really understand about relationships. I mean, it's not about being in love. I mean, it takes work to really be with somebody, especially if you have two different backgrounds. So the main key is like keep you a mentor, keep you like a big brother, somebody like you can actually talk to that's doing the right things.
I'm guessing that's for all areas of life, like you said, marriage, a mentor, coach, counselor, something in that form. But even just you said changing the people in your life. I'm just going to talk about some of the stuff you shared with us tonight. How changing your life might just mean stop being selfish, because you said you couldn't move forward as long as you kept thinking about yourself, and sometimes thinking about others and the influence in your life and the decisions you make and changing your circle and having mentors. Man, great information that a lot of times guys are looking for some advice and they just looking in the wrong place.
Right.
You go to the streets, you're going to get the advice how to survive in the streets. But if you go to the advice of a person that's going down the path you want to go down as far as getting a better job or in marriage, you'll get the advice you need. So that's amazing, man, that you are able to come in today, talk about your life, share the background, the good and the bad, because life is not always just good. It does have some bad, some rough parts. And you just showing that you're a real person that went through real things. How can the listeners and the followers here today, if they want to learn, talk to you, connect with you, is there a possible way?
Yeah, well, right now I'm basically on Facebook. I don't have a blog or anything up. I tend to post different things. It's just facebook.com / Riccardo Ivery.
Mhm.
And that's RICCARDO, then IVERY.
You ever thought about doing any mentoring or any
No,
coaching?
I hadn't thought about it. I mean, it kind of crossed my mind, but I hadn't set up anything.
I
Yeah.
think you would be an excellent coach, man. I mean, anybody that's been through something and now their life has changed, you have so much wisdom to share with others. So there's
Okay.
guys out here that need a brother like you to help them out.
Okay.
So I encourage you, even if it's just one guy, like, hey, look, I talk to your blue moon, but whenever you have an issue, about something, you just bringing them under their arm. So,
Okay.
man, I appreciate all you shared with us tonight. This
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
another episode of Interviewing the Exes. We had our bro here, Mr. Riccardo, and he shared his life with us, just letting us know that no matter how far you've gone, no matter what you've been through, God still loves you, and you can change. If you change, you want to change, you can change. So this is living proof. We appreciate you having us here tonight. Is there anything else you want to share with us?
Um, I think that's it. I think you pretty much said it all.
Okay,
Yeah.
bro.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, these interviews, they're going to be on our YouTube page. You'll see the other chapters that we've done before, and there's more to come. If you would like to be on this segment, please send the information to growmangrowing@gmail.com. Other than that, thank you all for tuning in. Have a blessed night.
All right. Good night.